Guys, this is Abla, your lover. Once again, I'm back and I'm here with something nice, sweet, pleasing to the ears, and something you can learn. Thank you so much if you're a returning viewer. Thank you so much if this is the first time you're coming, and please don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell so you always have the notification bell ringing when the video is dropped. Thank you so much. Please follow this video right up to the end, and if you get to the end and you love it so much, give it a thumbs up. It helps this video reach out to so many more persons out there. And today we would be on the likelihood of children going through the same things maybe their parents went through as divorcees, or people who had to part ways, go their separate ways for one reason or the other. So in the society today, or in most families, there is a likelihood of these things repeating themselves in the lives of their children. I'm a Christian, and for us Christians, or people who are spiritual and we have some kind of belief that things don't just happen in the natural or just happen in the physical just like that. Sometimes there may be some spiritual forces behind it which we need to trim or cut, eliminate before they have strongholds on us. So sometimes if you look at, for most people who are faced with certain issues, certain challenges, certain difficulties, if you look at most of them, if you see what happens to them and check what happens to their grandparents and great grandparents, there may be a line, or there may be some similarities, there may be some things that are repeating themselves. So there is a likelihood of children who experience these broken homes or these separated families. There's a likelihood that they would experience the same thing. Sometimes because you don't know how to just deal with being with a man or with a woman in the house, you don't know how handling these things work. You would fail. You may not be upright or well learned or educated on how to deal with these things, because we don't just learn in school. Experience teaches us a lot, and also what you see from others, how you see others deal with their own issues, also influences us a lot. So it's good that before we go into it, and you know very well that you were not privileged enough to have witnessed your parents' union flourish. You are not privileged enough to see how amazing being with a partner and growing together, raising you is. It's good that we go out for other sources, we get other materials and learn from it before getting into the real act itself. Because if we get into it when we've not learned from the mistakes they made, or we've not seen how to correct these mistakes and make it more better in our own homes, we will definitely repeat it. We will repeat it, and it doesn't just happen. We need the grace of God. We need the grace of God. It doesn't just happen, because if you've not seen something happen, you've not learned something, you've not watched it manifest, you've not had somebody coach you, you've not had, and also if you've not had the opportunity, it's good to have even a coach or a mentor, someone you can always even seek help from. Someone close, someone you can confide in, so it doesn't have to repeat itself. Because the truth is, and most importantly, you need the help of God. You need the help of God. If you look at the happenings in most families or to most people, you realize that what had happened to their parents, some of these things, there is a similarity with what is currently happening to them in their marriage. With their grandparents, sometimes they said it's their generational things that go through from one generation to the other. So when we have such a situation, we need to put it in prayers. We need to learn, we need to read books, we need to consult people, we need to find out things, we need to We need to seek the face of God. We need to, because the tendency of it repeating itself is so high, and we need to be very cautious in the choices we make. Because sometimes your mother could have a taste of a kind of man, let me not say this, or your father could have a taste or a kind of behavior. Because the truth is, if you have a child and the child manifests a behavior, the child starts doing something, and you start telling the child, you cannot be a dog and give birth to a cat. What that child would do is similar to what you do. The characteristics of that child will be similar to yours. So it is good that we have, if I find out that, okay, my father has this weakness as a man, and I don't want my home to be like his home. Maybe he has made some mistakes in life, and I know that it could be because of this or that, and I realize that I have some of those things that have maybe enhanced the crumbling of his home. I'll try to cut them off as much as I can. Once I get to find out that, okay, I have some of these characteristics, I will just cut it off. If it's anger, if it's being rude, being violent, you just need to cut that off, trim it off. And you cannot just do that on your own. There is nothing we'll do by our power. We cannot do it on our own, because this breath we breathe was given to us. So you don't expect to do things on your own without consulting who gave you life. We should always consult him, because sometimes if you look at it, if you say, okay, there is violence here, you want to be, if you are not careful, you check at your grandparents, maybe your grandfather had also the issue of violence. A cat cannot give birth to a dog, or a dog can't give birth to a cat. Some of these character traits manifest through through the line of the family. You see, so and sometimes we need to build self-control. It's good that we know these things and we try as much as possible to tackle it, so it will not cross. It won't cross. If we know it and we tackle it properly with good help, physically and both spiritually, we will avoid everything that has to do with the experience of the past. And will bring in new things in our life, in our families, that will make it flourish, and people will be amazed, because you've brought a change. You're outstanding. You're no longer standing in the queue of the usual in the family, but you've stood out of that queue, and that will just make the difference, the whole difference. So it is very, very important. If you realize that, oh, this is the thing in my home, this is a weakness my mother has, if this is a weakness my father has, if you realize that you have more of the character traits coming from your father, and you see that this thing he does, it's not good, and this is what is bringing him setbacks, failures, and all that things in every part of his life, in all ramifications of his life, in his family, everything, you try to cut it off, leave it out of your life as much as you can. It cannot always be easy, but we just have to try. It's very important that we try. It's very important we try, because if we do not try, we'll have the same happenings they experience. We have it happening to us. If it's laziness, you just need to cut it off. You just need to cut it off, because if we don't, we will be experiencing the same things, and we'll be asking God why. It's because you saw it and you tolerated it. You let it grow. You let it have a solid ground in your life, and it got to a point where cutting it off is difficult, but not impossible. Cutting it off is difficult, or it's almost too late. So it's good that we find out these things and handle it, deal with it. with that, there is more we'll be bringing. There is more I will be bringing to you. And if you loved these very few words I've dropped today, thank you. And the way you can appreciate is by giving this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe, click the notification bell, share so others can be blessed as you've been blessed. Thank you. See you next time. Bye. Bye.